Hi, my name is Courtney Miller. I'm an incoming PhD student at Carnegie Mellon. This is Chanel, and we're going to be talking with you about our paper, How Was Your Weekend? Software Development Teams Working from Home During COVID-19. This work was done during my remote internship at Microsoft Research last summer. Before we get started, we'd like to thank the program committee for all of their great work and for the Distinguished Paper Award. Thank you very much. The pandemic caused lots of developers to move to work from home, meaning lots of dev teams that were accustomed to working in person experienced a sudden and drastic shift in the way they collaborate, communicate, and work together as a team. With this mass shift to work from home, current team experiences may have been impacted, and we're interested in exploring those potential impacts. For example, we know the way some of these teams have communicated has changed. Additionally, before work from home, collaboration looked a lot different for many teams. It could be done around a round table or by sketching out ideas together on a whiteboard. Whereas now, those same tasks are being done remotely. Also, before work from home, teams could rely on low effort activities like lunch or ad hoc conversations in a hallway to maintain social connection and communication, whereas now teams have to rely on things like Zoom happy hours, which speak for themselves. So since we know the way teams interact has changed, we're also interested if team productivity has also changed, since we know that team culture factors are important components of developer productivity. So what we're interested in understanding is first, if work from home is impacting teams and the team culture factors, and then if any of those subsequent impacts are having an impact on team productivity. So to do this, we have a three-pronged methodology. We start by analyzing the team-based questions from a broad spanning survey that we'll just call the work from home survey. We then run a more focused survey on these specific team experiences, which we call the team survey. And then finally, we build a model looking at all the factors from the team survey to see if any of them have a significant relationship with change in team productivity. Let's talk about our research questions really quick. For the work from home survey, we wanted to know, how has the ability for teams to reach milestones changed during work from home? How has team culture changed during work from home? And how have teams supported their members during work from home? With the team survey, we wanted to know, how have team communication and collaboration changed during work from home? How has social connection within teams changed during work from home? And finally, with the team productivity model, we wanted to know which factors are associated with the change in productivity during work from home. So back to our methodology, why don't we go ahead and get started? We'll start with analyzing the results of the previous work from home survey. As you can see from the question numbers here, there were a lot of them. However, we're only going to be focusing on these three. They focused specifically on the team experience. They were open-ended questions, so we used card sorting, which is a form of qualitative content analysis to parse the responses. So let's get into it. The first question, how has your team culture changed? The most commonly cited change was no change, but beyond that, changes in social connection and communication were commonly cited. For example, we used to have lunches together and had good camaraderie. No more lunches together, less camaraderie, and less incidental water cooler information exchange. Or, we are trying to adapt to daily sync-ups and FaceTime between all team members, which helps with communication, but adds into the millions of meetings. Next, how has your team supported you during your crisis? There was a heavy emphasis on social connection and maintaining communication. For example, we have weekly social hours, which helps with some of the social isolation I've been feeling, or just lots of team meetings. Next, compared to working in office, do you think the ability of the team to reach milestones has changed? If yes, please explain. First, let's consider the framing of this question, which is neutral, right? We're just asking if the ability to reach milestones has changed, for the better, for the worse, just has it changed? And if we look at the reported change in productivity, if you're feeling agreeable, you might say it's roughly symmetric. So when we were parsing the responses, we expected it to be like roughly split between reasons the ability had gotten better versus worse. But that was not the case. The vast majority of people who said their ability to reach milestones had changed cited reasons why it had gotten worse. And they commonly discussed trouble with collaboration and communication. For example, we have lost somewhere between 20 and 40% effectiveness in use of time. In order to keep up, people are working longer hours. We are starting to see burnout. Or, it is more difficult to land nuanced discussions. One-on-one is okay, but in a multi-person discussion, it is very hard to keep focus. So the takeaway was that social connection and communication were commonly cited team culture factors. They seem to be simultaneously a big challenge faced by teams and also a tool used by teams in an attempt to support members. For example, in terms of communication, it seems most teams are doing a decent amount of communicating. They're having plenty of meetings. However, communication is still a really big challenge. So it seems it's not a quantity of communication issue, but rather a quality of communication issue, possibly. We're going to get to the bottom of it with a more focused survey on these specific team factors. Let's get into it. We sent it out to 3,500 developers, got 608 responses, giving us roughly a 17% response rate. Let's look at some of the findings. First, don't worry about trying to read this entire graph. It's available in the paper. We just want to use it to highlight some of the key findings. So the first question was, how has communication with your teams changed since working from home? 65% of respondents said they felt a decrease in their feeling socially connected with their team. 51% cited a decrease in their communication ease with colleagues, and 57% cited a decrease in their ability to brainstorm with colleagues. Next, how has social interaction with your team members changed since working from home? 57% cited a decrease in their connection with their team members. And when we asked them specifically about their social connection with their team members, that number jumped all the way up to 66% who said they felt a decrease in their social connection with team members. Next, how do you stay socially connected with your colleagues? This graph is a little different. The way to read it is that the activities higher up are used more frequently by teams. So we can see the most frequently used activities, starting and ending meetings with non-work talk, sharing pictures and memes, and fun and informal Teams channels are all relatively low effort, and these are the activities being relied upon for the most part on a day-to-day basis by teams to maintain social connection. Finally, we asked, what work-related challenges have you experienced working from home, and how impactful are these challenges? 74% of our respondents cited missing social interaction as a work-related challenge that they have experienced during work from home. So the takeaway from this is that staying socially connected and maintaining effective communication are widespread challenges among our survey sample. So now we're going to use this data to build a model. We take all of the factors from the second model and we create one initial bloated model. And then we use AIC backward stepwise regression to parse it down to a final set of predictors, giving us our final reduced model. Let's look at some of the takeaways. These 9 factors ended up having a significant relationship with team productivity or change in team productivity. We can see that factors like difficulty communicating with colleagues, ability to brainstorm with team, and less awareness of what colleagues are working on all ended up having a significant relationship with change in team productivity. More information on these relationships, as well as the other factors present but not significant in the model, can be found in the paper itself. So what do we do about this? Well, we have a few practical recommendations. First, in terms of social connection, build and maintain a team culture, be mindful of other people's time, include social activities as a part of work hours, and actively work to be inclusive, especially if your team has or is going to move to hybrid work. Be mindful of making sure that social activities are accessible and enjoyable for all members, regardless of the modality they use to connect to the team. Finally, in terms of communication, create communication standards. Managers, we suggest, should consider holding weekly one-on-one meetings as well as regular team meetings. And managers should stay aware of contributions during group meetings and make sure that conversation is not being monopolized and that everyone is being given space to contribute and give opinions. So, taking a step back, our big summary. Staying socially connected and maintaining effective communication are widespread issues among our survey sample. The majority of them cited a decrease in social connection, as well as a decrease in their communication ease and their ability to brainstorm with colleagues. 74% cited missing social interaction as a work-related issue they experienced during work from home. And finally, team culture-related factors such as difficulty communicating with colleagues, ability to brainstorm with team, and having less awareness of what colleagues are working on all have a significant relationship with change in team productivity. Thank you so much for your time and attention. We look forward to having discussions with you during the conference. We're about to go to a Q&A, but if you have extra questions or if you're shy, feel free to ask questions via email. Thank you so much and have a good one.